The global forest resource assessment is very important to the entire world. It provides us a 5-year snapshot of where we are today versus where we are from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and even 50 years ago. And it tracks the progress that we're making on critical social issues surrounding forest. The advisory group comes together on an annual basis, but especially every 5 years at the beginning of a new FRA, we come in and discuss what was good out of the last assessment, what were some of the challenges we still had, and then we work together to plan how to address anything that we thought really needed some further progress. The advisory group for the FRA process comes together each and every year, and at the beginning of each 5-year period, we have a very large meeting to begin to plan how we'll come together in the next 5 years, in each succeeding years, to address any challenges that have materialized from previous FRAs. So we use this as a way to enable ourselves and all the countries who participate in the FRA to move forward in as much unison and standardization and providing a good snapshot of progress throughout the world on forest.
The work of the national correspondents is very important for the FRA process because they are the basis of producing information. They are experts in forests and they know very well the FRA process as well as the forest definitions and terminology. FRA can provide capacity building for the countries. This is very important because countries need to build a national forest monitoring system, and FRA can stimulate or improve the countries to develop better systems for monitoring their forests. The national correspondents are very important for FRA process. They are the basis of providing forest information to FAO, and they know very well the FRA process. They are very familiar with the terms and definitions, and they can act at control level, aggregating institutions and different stakeholders to provide good quality information.
The FRA process that is being undertaken by the FAO has a lot of relevance to the reporting processes under the Convention on Climate Change. It is a very important source of information because it's global in scale. It is being reported by the countries themselves, and it's a trusted source of information. As we know that forests act as a very important carbon sink, as a reservoir of carbon stocks. And it's important to show how this carbon sink is growing or it's decreasing in terms of such stocks, which gives us an indication of how well our forests are doing. And so, because countries are reporting to both processes, what they report to FRA and what they need to report in terms of the land use change and forestry sector, the data and information on the changes in their carbon stock, it's very much interlinked and connected. And this is where there is relevance in terms of FRA reporting and reporting by countries to the UNFCCC process. And as you know, under the Paris Agreement, which will be coming into force very soon, by next month, it will come into effect, that many countries, particularly developing countries, they have identified the land use and forest sector as a very important component of their mitigation action. And that's going to be more need for data and information with regards to forest and land use sector, and I think that's where FRA can play a very important role, and without necessarily increasing the reporting burdens of countries, but to facilitate their reporting to the climate change process. In the climate change process, countries, be it developed or developing countries, they have to submit greenhouse gas inventories to the process. For developed countries, they submit their greenhouse gas inventories annually. And for developing countries, they submit these greenhouse gas inventory as part of their national communication, which is every 4 years. And now they update it every 2 years through their biennial update reports. And one of the 6 economic sectors which they report on is land use land use change, and forestry. And this is where the relevance of forest monitoring and reporting to the FRA process can have a role in terms of countries compiling their greenhouse gas inventory. And particularly, I know that the FRA collects information and data on carbon stocks. And this is also what countries are reporting to the climate change process through their greenhouse gas inventory. And this is where consistency in terms of information being provided by countries need to be ensured, that they are coherent and consistent across processes and facilitate countries' reporting. And inventories, as you know, gives an indication of how well countries in their actions against climate change, how well they're progressing, because it provides the trends of their greenhouse gas emissions and removals by forests. The FRA process that's being undertaken by FAO has a lot of relevance to the reporting by countries to the UNFCCC process. Countries use FAR information, which is global, which is country-driven, and is a trusted source of information. They use it for their reporting of inventories as part of their reporting, as part of their national communications to the UNFCCC process. And now, with the coming into effect of the Paris Agreement, such information that's being reported under the FRA process will play a more important role in helping countries report on how they've met the commitments that they have identified under their nationally determined contributions. And for many countries, under their NDCs, they have identified the land use and forest sector as a key sector to help them achieve climate change mitigation as part of their overall greenhouse gas emission reduction targets.